Alright, so this is just going to be the Bedrock All Achievements RSG guide. A lot of people have been asking me to make this, so I'm just getting a quick video out there for it. Not going to be super high effort, but it's going to tell you what you need to know, and just what you need to do to get a good run and improve your times. Alright, so to start, you're going to need to set up everything for actually running. I assume if you're running AA, you know how to run RSG to an extent, and if so, you should know how to set up multi-instance if your PC can handle it. You need to run multi with the setup on, and what you need to do is make sure that you have the simulation distance set to 6, like this. If you have it set to 4, skeletons will despawn while you're running Sniper Duel, an achievement you do later in the run. So you're going to go to other setup, and then you'll run through the setup. If you don't know how to do it, just ask someone. It's too complicated to explain here, and I can link a video in the description on how to do it. Other than that, the other thing you need to set up, and only if you have 2 monitors, it's really worth it, is this achievement tracker. It will just show you what you've done, and all the stuff you don't really care about is down here, so you only need to focus on the stuff that's actually done in runs, which is this stuff. I mean, you do this stuff, but it's redundant. You're not going to have to worry about it. This just allows you to really easily see what you are doing during the run, and what you need to do still. So to set this up, when you first download it, and I'll have the link in the description, it won't show this stuff down here. It'll your API won't be linked. You'll just click on a button, which will basically do the same thing as this. You need to input the API key, but you have to actually get it first. To get the API key, you go to this website, and what you need to do is sign in with any. This will be linked in the description. With any Microsoft account, it doesn't matter. And then scroll down, hit create. And it'll give you an API key like this. Copy the API key and paste it into here, and then hit OK. And then you just need to put in a gamer tag. I'll just put in the account I currently have running, and then it should track. Yeah, you can see it's 104 out of 106. These achievements are bugged. You can actually click on these 2 achievements to just mark them off when you do them, and it's fine on speedrun.com as long as you provide a timestamp of when you actually got these achievements in a run. Alright, so once you're done with that, you're going to start resetting, and when you're resetting, you're going to want to focus on resetting for a temple and a village kind of close by. So when you go to the temple, you're going to want like at least 8 gunpowder, like minimum 8 gunpowder, and grab grab E-gaps, like that's super good. Yeah, I mean this is the temple in my RSG AA world record. I wouldn't worry about grabbing TNT. It's not that important. TNT just doesn't drop a lot of blocks. You'll grab it later in exploration for debris. Yeah, grab any iron. You can grab string and bones if you want. I like to grab bones just in case I get rolled on paper and I can just bone meal sugarcane, which just gives me free paper. Bedrock exclusive feature, but it's really nice. Yeah, so after you do that, any percent is really similar. You're just going to go to a village, you're going to get your tools, and then you're going to find a way to enter the Nether. You can dig down, or you can just find a lava pool. I think on this run I dig down. Ideally, you get a stronghold if you're digging down, but you can't always be lucky. And like this seat, there's no stronghold here. I dug down. I entered like here, and the record. But when you go to the Nether, you're just going to basically play it. Oops, I switched to the side. Play it like super simple. You're just gonna want to play a little more forcing for Bastion, but Warped and Classic still works. It's just not quite as good because there are some extra items you're gonna want from Bastions, such as fire resistance potion. Like leather is super important. That's like the main difference in the Nether is you're gonna save leather. When you're at your Bastion, you're going to want to get 33. So like if you have a stack, which is typically what you'll get from a Bastion, I don't know where it is, let me just search it up. You're going to want to double right click it, and that'll put 33 there. Just like at some point when you're sorting inventory, like in the fort or something. Yeah, you just route the Bastion like normal, and then you got to find a fort. When you find the fort, I switched scenes, my bad. When you find the fort, you just run it like normal. Just get the rods and then go. There's nothing different. And then you're just gonna you're just gonna find the stronghold. I mean, you're gonna blind. You can do educated. You can go back to your stronghold if you entered through a stronghold. It doesn't really matter. Just find the stronghold some way. And then you're going to kill the dragon. You're going to want to make sure that you use a bottle, if you have one. To get, you need a mint. I don't know where bottles are. You just save one, like you drink a fire resistance potion, and then it's gonna get, you're gonna have a glass bottle left over. Just use that to get you need a mint by picking up dragon's breath when the dragon's perched. Otherwise, the one cycle is completely normal. And yeah, you just kill the dragon, and then you're gonna tower up, and you're gonna like grab the lava on the little tower that you use to like place lava and slow the dragon down. You're gonna grab it so that the lava doesn't kill all the XP, and then you're also gonna punch out as much fire as you can before the XP falls down and kills it, or it gets killed by the fire. You're gonna not worry about picking up the XP. It's kind of glitched. It looks like it's there, but it's really more spread around. So just like wait a bit and pick it up later after you come back from the outer islands. So once you punch out all the fire, you're just gonna look for an end gateway, and that is going to be your gateway to the outer islands. Alright, so you can go below a gateway. Let me just kill the dragon really quickly. You can go below a gateway and hurl directly below the middle of one of the side blocks. It's a little risky, but it usually works. Otherwise, you can just tower up. So you could just like tower up like this and throw a pearl in pretty easily. But if you want, you can go align your crosshair like right in the middle of one of these 4 side blocks, throw it straight up. It'll usually work. In that case, it didn't. It's probably easier to look straight down though. Once you're here, you just need to find an in-city. Just go to the ship. You can pearl like onto the, like, you know, the city itself. I wouldn't pearl there, actually, that's really far from the ship. I'd pearl like up onto this or something. Then I'd probably like tower up here. That's probably what I did in my run. And then, yeah, just pearl over the ship. Or you could just tower directly to the ship. It doesn't really matter. Just get up here, get your elytra, and kill this guy. Don't use a golden sword. This is just what I got first. Okay, so as for stuff that we actually want to save here from the in-cities, we're going to want at least 6 sulfur shells. That's super important. You're going to want frostwalker. That's like completely mandatory. Like that's the single most important thing here in the in-cities. You're going to want to get at least like 99 iron, which is a stack in 35. Get some diamonds and some full diamond armor. Ideally with depth strider or in respiration and aqua affinity, but you can enchant for these, so it doesn't really matter. Just like save these if you get them, those enchantments. Get some iron armor if it's convenient. You can just throw it into your shulker box. If it's bad for your inventory though, don't worry about it. It's just nice because it'll save iron later in the run. Grab any gold and emeralds you see. You want to get like at least 37 obsidian, but if you don't see enough ender chests to mine it, like you mine the ender chest to get the obsidian, don't worry about forcing it. It's not really that important. It is, you do need at least like 4 though, like absolute bare minimum, just so that you can make your enchantment table. You're going to want to grab a nice pickaxe, especially just for getting done with the end cities quickly, and ideally it has fortune on it so that you can get lapis really easily. Grab any looting swords you see, especially if it's looting 2 or more. Ideally with smite or sharp. You can just grab a smite or sharp sword too, so you can combine it with a looting sword later on. And then you do want an efficiency shovel, ideally with silk touch. You will need at least 1 silk touch tool regardless. And then finally, you can grab saddle if you want. It's not really that important. It's really common, but you can get them here, which is nice. Okay, so once you're done with in cities, you're going to want to leave through a gateway, and you're just going to be on the main end island. I don't know where the gateway's over here. You're going to be on the main end island. You're going to grab the XP. It's just going to be scattered all around. You don't really need more than like 60 levels. Most of the time you don't even need 60, but you grab it all just in case you get rolled on enchants. So yeah, you'll just be like, you'll be you'll be more over here, because you typically don't exit through your original gateway, but if you do, you'll be next to the original gateway. It doesn't really matter, you're just gonna go over here. You can see now that the XP, it's like way more scattered around than it looked like it was before. This isn't exactly equal to what it would look like in a run, because normally the dragon dies right above the fountain, or like right over here. But in this case I just slash killed it, and it was like over here. But it is more spread around than it would have looked before. You can see there's XP like way out here. Yeah, you just have to make sure you get enough, like 60 levels, and then you go through. And when you're through, you need to focus on two main things. You need the trident, and you need the lapis, because that's what you need to like start enchanting. You also kind of want to get some logs, because you need to make bookshelves. So once you get a trident, you can then craft your enchantment table, your anvil, and your bookshelves. And, you know, I assume you have your lapis as well. Lapis you're going to want to just like look for in ravines, and tridents obviously in oceans. Once you craft these things though, you can start enchanting, and there's a lot of stuff to enchant. So you need Unbreaking for your elytra. That's important. It doesn't have to be Unbreaking 3. Unbreaking 2 will work perfectly fine, and if you have like 4 elytras, you can get away with Unbreaking 1 as well. You don't really fly around that much. Respiration and Aqua Affinity on your helmet. You need Aqua Affinity for later on. Respiration isn't mandatory, but it's really nice for getting fish. And if you have like these on 2 separate helmets, wear the Respiration one earlier on and just save the Aqua Affinity one for later on. Just some leggings. I would put protection on them if they're unenchanted. Depth Strider on your boots. Not mandatory, but it's nice. Riptide on your trident, that's mandatory. That's like the main enchant you're going for. That's the reason you front load the trident. Efficiency 2 on your hoe is nice. It doesn't really matter though. You're going to use this, and then once it's broken, you don't care about it anymore. Efficiency 2 is just going to allow you to insta-mine hay bales. The axe, you want at least efficiency 2. It is kind of hard to enchant efficiency on bedrock for some reason. Like, it's a rare enchantment. Get efficiency 2 if you see it, and then craft another one and go for efficiency 4. But if you don't worry about it. Efficiency 2 is fine. Efficiency 4 on your pickaxe is really nice. It'll allow you to insta-mine almost every block, except for like stone and stuff, but you don't really go around mining stone. You don't need the fortune really at this point. That probably doesn't really need to say that. I prefer fortune over silk touch, but really you don't need either. Like, you just like don't want silk touch too much, because sometimes you want to just be able to mine cobblestone for like furnaces. Looting 2 at least, preferably 3, and then ideally smite, and if not, sharpness. If you don't have smite or sharpness, I would enchant another sword for it, and then combine the swords. And then an efficiency 4 shovel, which will insta-mine sand. Efficiency 3 diamond also works, and I would recommend Unbreaking on the iron shovel if you have just an iron shovel. It doesn't really matter that much. Honestly, you don't really need the Unbreaking. You don't mind that many blocks, but sometimes when you're doing your village setup, it will break if it doesn't have Unbreaking on it. Ideally, though, you just have a diamond shovel from the end cities. You want to throw these items in a shulker box. You'll have elytras from the end city. You'll have Frostwalker. You'll probably have a chestplate. Craft one if you don't. This lava bucket will be from the 1 cycle. Extra obsidian from the end cities. Extra string. You just want to throw as many string as you have in your shulker box. Ideally, you have like just a bunch from the bastion. No more than a stack, though. You'll never need more than that. You might have redstone from when you got lapis. You kind of want to get them at the same time. And then down here, you're going to want to craft these items. Oh yeah, also lapis. You're going to want to put that in 6 extra if you have it. You might have ran out of it, though, when you're enchanting. This is just for blue dye. Then you're going to want to craft these. I recommend keeping these 2 in your inventory until the first night, because I like to do sniper duel, which requires these, as well as archer, which requires the bow, on the first night. I just keep these in my inventory at all times, because they don't, I don't know, I always do that. And then you craft 4 buckets and shears. You're going to need 99 iron, basically, from the end city for the buckets, the shears, this anvil, and then some other achievements that I like to do earlier on than later. So that's why I like to front load 99 iron in the end cities. Alright, so now you're going to do your fish split. Now this is like kinda done at the same time as your trident split, so you'll probably already have some fish. You might have some of this stuff done. Every time you see a shell drown, whether it's when you're getting the trident or during the fish split, you're going to want to get the shell. These can make or break runs. I've had sub 3 paces lost to shells for sure. Alright, so the main thing you're looking for is fish. Like, that's the reason you're here, is because you need these fish so that you can tame cats when you're at the village. And then you're going to want to fill up 3 of your buckets with water, and then put a fish in one of them, and then just get rid of the fish if you want. This is just for marine biologists. It's just an achievement. If you see a ocean ruin or a shipwreck, just go to them for their respective achievements. Use one of your fish and feed it to a dolphin. That'll give you echolocation. You don't need to follow it or anything. And then just grab kelp and ink sacs when you see them. Just need 2 and 10 plus. Really easy things to get. This is like about 5-minute split, mainly just because of fish. And then you're going to worry about temples as well. So your first temple, I recommend you get 2 spider eyes, a rotten flesh, 15 plus string, and then you're going to want to grab some bones. I don't have that on here. You're going to need like a stack of bones, but you're also likely just going to get that during this fish split. So throughout the run, you are going to want to always get TNT and temples until you have like max, I would say 2 stacks. Minimum you're going to want to get is like a stack of TNT, but preferably like 80 or 90 just to be safe. Grab diamonds if you need them for like a chest plate or something, or like repairing your pickaxe. If your pickaxe doesn't have unbreaking on it, you're going to need to repair it later in the run. So you'll need like 4 diamonds for that. But if you have a bunch of diamonds, don't worry about it. It's not really worth saving them for beacon blocks. As for these 3 ores, it is worth saving them, I would say. And then obviously you're going to be looking for E-gaps during the temples. Like, this is the single most important item. I get like 2 stacks of gunpowder for a run. If you're going for a little slower run, like 4 hours or so, I would get more. Just grab whatever you see. Usually you're not going to have issues with gunpowder, though, over like E-gaps, unless you just get really lucky on E-gaps. The last thing that's not shown here is you should grab gapples if you see them, just regular gapples, just for like usage whenever you're low on health, like in the fort, in the raid. If you get lavaed while you're doing debris, they're just useful. And then you do actually need 2 gapples or 2 golden carrots during the when you do artificial selection, which is going to be on this screen. This is a big one. This is like all of exploration. So this is where a lot of people will mess up, and they'll just like not front load enough stuff, and they'll have the end game going, and they'll just constantly see, oh, I'm missing this, just constantly. So at some point during exploration, you're going to want to get a map, and if it's convenient, you're going to want to get the Heart of the Sea. The thing about Bedrock on 1.16.1, it is bugged, where all maps point to the closest treasure to spawn. So you can only get the buried treasure if you're close to spawn, which you're usually going to do later in the run, but if you happen to still be close to spawn when you find the map, get the Heart of the Sea now. You're going to want to get these blocks, and just like, these are villager setup items, basically. You're going to want to get 2 stacks of gravel, 2 flint. Usually you have silk touch on your shovel, which is nice for getting gravel, and then hopefully you have like fortune on something, and it's nice for getting flint. Otherwise, just like mine flint normally until you get it. Just don't mine gravel with the silk touch, otherwise you're not going to ever get flint. You're going to need like 40 sand. You get that like the same time you get these 3 cacti. You need the cacti for green dye. The sand is for ink crystals, bottles, and your beacon. You're going to want to get like 40 cobwebs. You typically want to get some from the libraries. Oh, I forgot to mention, in any percent when you're in the stronghold, super important. The libraries are where you get your books for enchanting, and you need to get at least a stack of books. You need to get as much paper as you need, like at least 8 paper for getting enchants. This part is pretty obvious to most, but yeah, you do need to go to the libraries any percent during AA before you enter the end. And then grab any enchanted books that you need. Like, again, the enchants are shown here. Riptide, Efficiency 4 is nice to grab. Grab Depth Strider and Respiration Aqua if you need, if you really have inventory space, and always grab Unbreaking. And then, of course, Frostwalker, super important. And looting if I didn't mention it already. Alright, so back to here. Sorry about that. I forgot about that portion of the run. Anyways, you're going to need to get your dyes during exploration. You need 11 of these. 9 of these are going to be used for your bee setup, but 2 of them are actually for yellow dye. And then you're going to want to get 6 red dye. just from beetroot or red flowers. And what I was mentioning about these is you can get cobwebs in the libraries as well, but I like to get them from abandoned villages just so I have enough. You're going to want to get your bees whenever you see a flower forest. You can tell a flower forest by like the bright green grass that you see. Redstone, if you didn't get it while getting lapis, you need to make sure you get it. I've definitely had 1 or 2 runs where I forgot to get redstone. Just get it in like a mega ravine or something. Clay, you're going to get in a river probably when you're getting gravel as well. Just get 3 clay. It's just for a simple achievement. Rabbit, you're going to get just whenever you see a rabbit, probably in a desert or your flower forest. It needs to be uncooked. Can't be cooked. Then you're going to do when pigs fly. You're going to get the pork chop. For when pigs fly, you need to take a pig. And oh, nice wandering trader. Okay, so pig, saddle. Yeah, you'll need to grab a saddle, and you're gonna need to get carrots at some point. Usually, you'll get a pig and a carrot in the same like plains village or something. Oh, I did not know there was a monument right there. Okay, so you take like 4 blocks, and you just build like this. Dig down 4 blocks, and then you put. Yeah, you're like next to the pig. You put the saddle on, and then you hold the carrot on a stick, and then you just walk into the hole. And then you'll normally have like an axe or a pickaxe or a sword. You just kill it for the pork chop, and that just allows you to get your pork chop overlapped with your. Oh, sorry, wrong. Okay, overlapped with when pigs fly. It's just an achievement you need to do. It needs to take any amount of fall damage to make sure like you actually go down 4 blocks and not. Sometimes you like mine with a shovel, you insta mine down, and you mine 3 dirt, and there's like a stone, and then you can just like walk in and it won't take fall damage. You gotta make sure you actually mine that 4th block. Alright, that's everything here, and everything here. I got this. Okay, so this stuff up here, I just like to pre-craft these while I'm waiting for some sort of mob spawn, one of these things down here, because when you're or while waiting for bees to go back in their hive. Because you have to craft these eventually at some point before you're actually doing the part of the run where you have downtime. So you'll just like, the best downtime you have earlier in the run is when you're just waiting for mobs to spawn. So I like to craft these earlier. And yeah, you craft 8 chests, craft 3 of the chests into hoppers, craft a minecart, craft a powered rail. If you have a ton of extra iron, you can just craft regular rails if you want. But this saves 6 iron, which is kind of nice, because you typically have way more gold than you have iron. Alright, easy achievement, just get repopulation, cheerful day, bodyguard, those are all easy. This requires 36 iron, that's part of that 99 front-loaded iron. This is the rest of the 99 front-loaded iron, the minecart and the 3 hoppers. It's 20, 36, plus another, like, I want to say 43 on the other page. And yeah, that's why you front-load that iron. Then you can also get these. These are basically so you don't have to get more iron later on. Not this one. This one you just get because if it's convenient. This cauldron, just grab it in a desert village or a plains village if it's convenient. You don't need to worry about it too much. It's just 7 iron that you'll have to get later on if you don't get it. Sometimes you have a ton of extra iron. It doesn't matter. Same with a smithing table. You can grab it in a plains, a desert, or a taiga village really easily if there's the house already there. This is just in case you didn't get lapis. You just get 6 dye from like cornflowers or something. So yeah, shearful day, you just shear a sheep. Super easy. Repopulation, you just breed 2 cows. Super easy. Bodyguard, you just place down. You place down 4 iron blocks. Oh, I switched scenes. My bad. And then let's see, pumpkin. Just gonna switch scenes. Okay, apparently that switches back. Okay, yeah, I should have done better hotkeys for this. Okay, so you just place them down like this. You don't need to like. A lot of people think you have to do this. You can just place them down like this. It's easier. Just summons the guy. I just do that whenever. Just whenever it's convenient. Yeah, I mean basically when I see a pumpkin, pretty much. Alright, the big things are llamas, wolves, donkey, bees, which you already did, or which we've already gone over, cats, and jungle. Alright, jungle will be the next screen, but for now let's talk about donkey. You just need to make sure you breed a donkey with a horse. So when you're flying, especially over plains, you're going to want to F5 behind you to see if there is a plains. Now, importantly, you are going to want to make sure that you actually sit on the donkey. You can tame him fully. He won't despawn. Or, oh, that's a baby. You can just get on him and off him, and he still won't despawn. You'll see the baby will despawn, but the guy that I sat on won't. Oh, I didn't go far enough. Yeah, but as long as you sit on them for a tiny period... Okay, I don't think they're despawning because I spawned them in myself. As long as you sit on them for a tiny period of second, they won't despawn. You just need to make sure when you actually breed them, you do tame them fully. Otherwise, you won't get the actual mule that you're trying to achieve, not trying to breed. Here's the horse. So yeah, you tame them both, and then you're gonna feed them golden apples. And then you're going to want to put a saddle on one of them at some point, because you do need to get saddle up, which is just putting a saddle on one of these mobs. You are so unlikely to get them this close together that you'll almost always just use the saddle to get them closer to each other. Typically, you get the donkey to spawn in. Whenever you see a donkey, you then make sure it doesn't despawn by sitting on it. And then you're going to fly around until you find a horse, and then just get one of the mobs over to the other one using the saddle. Alright, so that covers artificial selection. Next, leader of the pack. Whenever you find a taiga, you're just going to want to tame 5 wolves. You have to get them during the daytime, though. Just fly around until you find 5 wolves or craft these items. You do want to mine like 16 logs before you crafting these items, by the way. Right, I guess 17 in case you don't have any sticks for the powered rails. Yeah, you just do that when you get a taiga. What I typically like to do is, now I have very consistent paces where I exit the end around 35 minutes, and then I'll enchant, and around 45 I'll do like fish split, and I'll get my temples done, and then at 50 the nighttime rolls around, and I'll go to the swamp. That's another thing that we have to do during exploration. So we have to get 20 slime balls in the swamp. Super important, and you cannot do this during the nighttime where there's a new moon, which is from 1:30 to 1:40, assuming you didn't sleep at some point. It'll be earlier if you do sleep, which you often do. So try to force slime during either the 50-minute or the 110 night. If you're not like going for record, you can go for like the 150 night as well. Because like I doubt if you're not going for record, you're never gonna make the 50-minute night for getting slime, really. So I like to get slime in the 50-minute night, then do sniper duel and archer during the 50-minute night. What is this trident drown doing? Okay. Alright. Anyways, back to what's important. I like to get slime and then sniper duel archer during that night, and then I'll go to a village and I'll get Where Have You Been by sleeping with a cat. And then I'll wake up, and usually I'll be in a taiga because like I was in a swamp and taigas are nearby. Or I'll be near a taiga or in a taiga. And then I'll do leader of the pack that morning, so it's always daytime when I'm doing it. It's just a nice ordering that I like to do, and it works in most runs. Yeah, so just tame 5 wolves. As for cats, yeah, you feed one and then you sleep. What you're gonna want to do, it's conveniently nighttime. What you're gonna want to do. Okay, so let me tame him. So you need to tame him with fish. You're gonna have to tame cod. You're gonna have to tame. Oh, that's a horse. Okay. You're gonna have to tame 20 of these. Yeah, but once you tame them, you sleep on the bed. You want to ideally, say you just tame the guy. You don't want to go into house. You want to take a bed and place it next to him. That way the cat gets onto the bed really quickly. If he doesn't get on the bed really quickly, sometimes he won't actually give you the gift. You can see I got the item. Make sure it actually registers, though. If it doesn't, you're going to want to do it again. It's really buggy. It's an achievement that has issues sometimes. Yeah, once it actually pops up, you don't need to do it again. You don't have to force it during exploration. You can really easily do it later on when you're doing the village split. Okay, so that pretty much covers the majority of exploration besides jungle. Oh, llamas. Yeah, llamas, you use a lead. You craft one from slime. You get like 3 llamas to spawn in, breed them. and then breed the baby in the in the third llama. You'll have to grow up the baby, and then you'll get your 5th llama, and then just use a lead to make them follow you. And then if you just get a 4 spawn, just breed 2 of them and make them all follow you with your lead. As for 2 llamas, just don't worry about it. Just get 3 or 4 to spawn in. It's going to be a lot easier. Okay, that covers everything here. Moving on to the jungle. Alright, so you just need to find a jungle at some point. If it's the only thing you need, you're going to want to raise your render distance. It's going to be laggy if you... but it doesn't matter if it's laggy. Like, if you raise your render distance, just lower it once you see the jungle. If it's the only thing you need, like, it doesn't matter if you're lagging while you're flying. Okay, so you need to breed pandas. You need to get 2.5 stacks, 2.5 to 3 stacks of logs. What I like to do is I like to go to just find the bamboo forest right when I get to the jungle. They don't all have them. Hopefully they do. It's gonna be a lot slower if you don't. And then just land on a tree, mine it down for logs, and then hopefully pandas spawn while you're doing that. And if so, you can breed them. If you only see like one, you can feed it bamboo and it won't despawn. One thing you do have to worry about is pandas will chase bamboo when you're when it's on the ground, so you're gonna want to pick up any bamboo you mine. Otherwise, they're gonna get distracted by that and they won't breed. And once you find 2 pandas, you're gonna want to breed them together. Hopefully, they're not too far apart, but you can make them chase you by holding bamboo. Some of them are slow, some of them are a little faster, but they're all pretty slow relatively. Once you get them together, just place a bunch of bamboo on the ground if they're not willing to breed. Otherwise, they might just breed right away. Typically, if they're in a bamboo forest, they will breed right away if you just feed both of them 1 bamboo. You're going to want to save 6 bamboo for scaffolding. You're going to want to tame an ocelot, just like you tamed your 20 cats. And by the way, those 20 cats, you don't have to tame them all in exploration. You can tame a lot of them during village split later on. Yeah, just feed the ocelot some fish, and then save 1 cocoa bean. Just make sure you get enough logs. This is just for trading later on. The cocoa bean is for a dye. Alright, so then once you're done with everything there, you're going to want to go to the Nether. So when you go to the Nether, you need to get Return to Sender, Ooze Shiny, which is just... Return to Sender is like, you know, you hit the fireball back to the ghast. Ooze Shiny, you need to get a piglin to, like, you trade gold when it's mad at you. It doesn't matter if you're wearing armor or not. Usually you'll get this done during 80%. I don't know if it's... On the tracker, it's... let me see. Tracker, it's... Where is it? This is something I never really have to worry about, so I don't really know where it is. It's somewhere. Honestly, I don't know where it is. Is it even... I might have made up that this is a Bedrock achievement. I can't lie. This might be a Java-only achievement. Okay. Anyways, back to this. Hot tourist, yeah, just make sure you get all the biomes when you're in the Nether. The hard one is warped. Sometimes you just won't see warped, and you'll have to fly around for it. And then camouflage you're going to get while you're in the fort. I'll talk about that in a bit. While you're flying around the Nether, just get gas tiers by killing gas with looting. Hold your looting sword when you're doing Return to Sender, and it will actually apply looting to when the gas dies to the fireball. And you might get your gas tiers. You can get up to 4 from looting 3. If you're really lucky, you just get 4 from 1 gas, but just make sure you get 4 total. Anytime you go to a bastion, just grab gold blocks that are convenient. I wouldn't worry about buried stables or housing. I would just only worry about bridge or exposed stables or housing, and as well as treasure. Treasure, you can go bottom treasure, but I recommend crafting gold boots or helmet first. I craft gold boots if I don't have feather falling, but if I do have feather falling, I'll craft gold helmet. Then yeah, just grab a brown mushroom at some point. Super easy. Just 1. When you're in the fort, you're going to need 1 of these, 3 rods, of course 3 skulls, that's the most important part, and then 4 soul sand. And then after you get your first skull, you're going to want to put it on your head, and then you need to kill at least 1 wither skeleton with the skull on your head, and that'll give you the camouflage achievement. Once you're done with the fort, go to debris. This is the main thing you're getting, the debris itself, but while you're doing it, I like to grab 2 nether quartz, a magma, and then I like to save about 4 stacks of netherrack into a shulker box for setting up my villagers. Other than that, if you see blackstone and you don't have like more than 3 furnaces, or like 3 or more furnaces, I'd grab some blackstone to craft into furnaces. Alright, next you're going to go to the end, and you're going to want to go into a tower. Alright, so you find the thickest tower, which is this one. It doesn't have to be the thickest one, I just like to do this one. And then you're going to take your wither skeleton skulls and your soul stone. You're going to do this, but first I like to set up my furnaces, like over here. And you can watch me do this in the record. Yeah, what you do is you just put in sand. Sand is the item you're trying to smelt now because it is... where are ores? Ores are here, there. Yeah, you want to smelt sand for the end crystals because you're about to do end again. And then you do this. If you're on easy difficulty, which you should be, this will be really easy, but it will be slightly slower than if you're on normal. I would just do easy anyways, though. Okay, you put your chest plate on, you should have the rest of your diamonds on there. And then you're just gonna take your efficiency pickaxe, and you're gonna want to mine into the side of this okay, so, and then eventually the wither dies, pick up another stone, grab this. If you don't have ender pearls, which you want to save ender pearls from the end cities, or from earlier on in 80% after you've done the end cities, if you have them. If you don't have at least 4, kill some endermen until you have 4. And then what you're going to want to do is craft 4 ender eyes, and then take your 4 ghast tears, your 28 glass you'll have from smelting. And yeah, just take a crafting table and craft your end crystals. Alright, once you have your end crystals, I like to throw them on the ground here, then walk up here, throw all my items into here. Typically your inventory will look a lot better than this, it'll actually have useful stuff in it. And then you place the end crystals. The wither is still alive, don't worry about that. And then the dragon is going to summon. If you have not gotten it from earlier on, you're going to need to get it now. So save a bottle, but don't throw the bottle through. I mean, you're smelting glass, so it shouldn't be that hard to get a bottle. Yeah, so if you don't need a mint, just stand here, and you'll just die. One thing I forgot earlier is you need to get great view from up here in the inside. You can do that by like letting multiple shulker bullets hit you in a row, or you can fly directly into one. Yeah, the dragon's not going to fireball me because I'm in creative, but yeah, you would just pick up the fireball with the mint. But typically you'll already get this at 80%, and you can just die to the explosion, and that's fine. Let me go to survival, and then kill myself. I'm in the wrong scene again, because I typed K. Okay, and then yeah, you can see my items are here. If they're not, you can relog and come back in, and they will be there. I've had like 3 runs die to that before I realized you can just relog. It is really annoying to relog though, because there is an achievement called Castaway where you eat kelp for an hour straight, and it's bugged. You just need to eat kelp after being in the world for an hour. This messes up because you've relogged, but it's not really that bad. You just gotta remember to do it later on in the run. Alright, so now we're gonna switch to here for most of the rest of the run. Okay, so once you're done with the end, what you need to do is go to your village. Okay, so actually, important, I forgot to mention, during exploration, look for a village. Super important. You need to find a village that has at least like 13 or 14 villagers. If it's plains, it can be like 12 to 14. If it's desert, you're gonna want like at least 16. And plains is always nicer. It's better. Plains villagers are just better because of chickens. I'll explain that later. But desert village, if you have a really big one, just use it. It's fine. But yeah, you need to mark down the chords when you see the village. Like I marked this one down earlier on when I saw it. I don't want to go to the exact timestamp. Yeah, so you mark them down. You go to those chords in the Nether. So you just like you come to the end portal. You're gonna get your heart of the sea if you need it. If you didn't get it earlier on, because now you're near 0, 0. You can see here yeah, let's just like kind of go through this. properly. And it's buffering. Okay, so here, you see I die to the thing. I pick up the items. This is the same seed, remember? So it looks really familiar. Alright, so I enter the Nether to get the Heart of the Sea. So, you look, I mean, there's the treasure map that I got earlier on. Yeah, here, I will enter the Nether here. And I go to the chords, which is always around 0, 0. I'm just looking at the X on the map. And then I'm in a blind here. And then you'll get the buried treasure, which is always generates on 8 chords. I'll link it in the description a spreadsheet of 8 chords. It's kind of annoying to figure them out, so you probably just want to look at the spreadsheet. I grabbed this name tag just in case. It's really unnecessary, but it's in case I forget something while doing Zombie Doctor and I need to fly around and get something and I don't want my zombie villager to despawn. Alright, so now I go back to the Nether, and I'm going to the chords I marked for the village. Alright, so I'm here, I build my portal, and I'm at the village. So, when you're at the village, okay, this donkey needs to go away. Okay, yeah, no donkey, no rain. Alright, so I instantly see a shell trader, super lucky. If you see wandering traders, always check them for shells, because you can get up to 5 shells just, like, for free. I only needed 3 there, because I already had 5 from Fish Split. Yeah, now I'm going to set up my village. So what I do is I place 3 shulkers, I grab a chest, I tower up 2 blocks, I place a chest on the top and a crafting table on the side of it, and then I'm going to throw all my trading related items, which are the logs, except for half a stack. You'll see I'll take a half stack out in a bit. You always want to save half a stack of logs. And then I like to leave 4 cobwebs, and then throw the rest in there as well. Yeah, and I take the half a stack of logs out. Yeah, so you throw all cobwebs, logs, and gravel except for half a stack of logs and 4 cobwebs. Then you just throw all your items into your shulker box. Just everything you can to empty your inventory as much as possible. You want to keep like your sword, your axe, your pickaxe, and your food, and your rockets. Then you run around, you're going to break all the workstations and grab all the beds, just in the most convenient order you can. And then, yeah, also here, if you haven't finished Plethora of Cats, kill any cats that are either babies or tamed already, so that new cats can spawn in. Yeah, I'm just going to continue going around the village, getting all the beds, and when I'm done breaking all the workstations and getting all the beds, I will place them in the middle of the village, just a flat area that's nice. You can use netherrack to make it flatter if needed. You can see they're all placed. And then I'm going to need to get a Fletcher, which I do here. That's why you need your 2 flint from earlier in the run. You take the Fletcher, you trade 3 times with him, sometimes 2 if you have less villagers, but typically you'll trade 3 times to get 30 flint and then craft 15 fletching tables, and then just place them all down in between the beds. I like to place the beds 4 blocks apart like this, so that it fits the fletching tables in between and they don't have like pathfinding issues. That'll give you all of your Fletchers, and then now you're waiting for night at this point. If it was night when you got to the village, you're going to need a sleep. Ideally, it's like halfway through the day, though. It's unlucky if you're like right before nighttime or something. Alright, yeah, you want to make sure that your villager enclosure doesn't have any blocks next to it, otherwise zombies will be able to get up into it. Once nighttime is here, you're going to actually enclose all the villagers. And you need to brew your potion, you need to set up underwater, and you need to do a couple random miscellaneous achievements, and you need to set up bees at this point. So I'm smelting sand here for bottles. This is for brewing and for bees. So you can see I'm crafting a potion of a fermented spider eye here. That's to make the weakness potion. Alright, so that'll brew. And then I got all my items for these 2 achievements. Okay, so you tower up. I'm just going to show this in-game here. I think it'll be easier. Okay, so let's go to creative. Let's clear inventory, and let's do weather clear and time day. Okay, so hopper, minecart, chest, and furnace, and rail. Okay. So you place a chest down, you place a hopper on top, Then you place a furnace. Then you place a hopper on the back of the furnace. Make sure it's on the back, not the front. And the top. And this hopper can also be on the side, but I always just place it on the back. And then you put a chest on top of both of these hoppers. That'll give you smelt everything. And then you break all of this stuff down to the first hopper and chest. Place a powered rail. And then craft a minecart chest. Place it up here. Throw like any item in here. Wait a second or so and then break it all. And that'll give you freight station. Okay, so now we can go back here. That'll give you those 2 achievements. That's what I do that here. And I'm brewing the potion as well. Okay, so I'll show the potion overlap. Yeah, you put a bottle in, you put a fermented spider eye in, and you power the brewing stand with a blaze powder. And then that'll brew up 1. And then you put gunpowder in, but while you put the gunpowder in, you also put 2 more bottles in, and that turns them into splash potions, which is really nice, because you're going to need splash potions of poison as well. Alright, now that it's turning nighttime, all the villagers are sleeping, and I'm enclosing my villager setup. Here I make it a little taller, because otherwise the zombies can pathfind onto the shulker boxes, and then up onto the netherrack, and into the villager enclosure. Alright, so yeah, just go all the way around, 2 blocks high, make sure there's no way that the zombies can get in, and the villagers can get out. Often you'll have fletching tables up against the walls, make sure you build taller there, otherwise they can just walk onto the fletching tables, onto the walls, and get out. Alright, here I tame a cat. I don't know if I have Where Have You Been in this run, but you need to kill any cats that you tame if you don't have plethora of cats already done. Then you need to look for a zombie, and you're going to need to enclose it. This is like the cleanest zombie split, so it's kind of nice that I can show this one here. Yeah, you get a zombie in, and then you get a villager into the corner, and you block him in, and then you break the wall in between him and the zombie. Make sure you toggle hard difficulty before this. You can see the guy's going to convert into a zombie villager. There's still a blast furnace guy there, don't worry about that. But yeah, you take the... I don't know where that guy came from. Anyways, you take the... you need to take gapples, which I am having a hard time finding. They're in the purple shulker box. They're in the okay, there they are. And then you throw the potion, and then you feed him a gapple, and that'll basically make him turn into a villager in a couple minutes. Takes a minute and 50 seconds, or like a minute 40 seconds. Yeah, make sure you put a block above him so in case it becomes daytime. Otherwise he will burn. Yeah, now you need to wait for him, and then what you need to do while you're waiting is you need to set up underwater, or do freight station and smelt everything if you haven't already. And you need to set up bees. So I think what I'm doing here is I'm setting up bees. Okay, yeah, I make a diamond shovel here. I like to have an unenchanted diamond shovel. It's kind of nice for doing the bees and the underwater setup, because instamine can be kind of annoying. Yeah, here I'm setting up the bees. I'm going to place 9 dandelions, or whatever flowers. You can do whatever flowers. It doesn't matter, as long as you have 2 dandelions for yellow dye. In this case, I have 1 sunflower for 2 yellow dye. And I take 9 flowers, put them in there. I'm going to put blocks over. I'm going to craft 2 campfires. I'm going to put them... oops, that was wrong. Yeah, I'm going to take 2 campfires using logs. And it's nice having uncrafted logs just for things like this. And then put the beehives on top of them. Yeah, the campfires are down in a hole. The beehives are at the same level as the flowers. I'm going to set up underwater. This would be way easier to show in a world. Okay, so don't do it where there's sand. One thing you need to make sure is that you're setting up underwater in a biome that chickens can spawn in, or nearby one. Otherwise, you can't. You need to overlap getting an egg with underwater. Okay, so you'll have powered rails, chests. You'll have 3 water buckets. You'll have 2 lava buckets. You'll have 3 hoppers. You'll have, I think, 3 chests, I want to say. You place 1 down for bees. I think you have 4 left over. Or no, you have 3, because you place 1 for villager setup. And then you're going to have a magma. You're going to have obsidian. Remember, these are all things you got during the run earlier on. So you you dig 3 blocks down like that. You dig 2 in the corner like that, and you dig a little staircase here, I guess. Then let's take all these items. Oh, you need to craft 2 signs. This is something I don't front load. I just get some signs in the village. You'll craft 3. Just that's how the crafting recipe works. You can throw out 1. This isn't. It has to be oak signs though. That's the important thing. There's an achievement where you have to place a sign, but it only works if you use oak signs. So make sure you actually use an oak sign. Magma there. Chest. Hopper. Make sure it's actually facing it's like going into the chest. You need a minecart, and you're going to craft the minecart hopper. And you're going to put a rail here, minecart hopper. Make sure it's actually a minecart hopper and not just a minecart. One time I was like, wait, why are my items not being picked up? And I realized it was a regular minecart. And I didn't realize, I clicked on it to see like why my items are not in the minecart hopper. And then I realized when I clicked on it, I got into the minecart, and that took me out of the water, which is, it wasted 3 minutes of the run because I wasn't underwater for 20 minutes because I had a 3-minute break there. Or a break after 3 minutes underwater. You put the 2 signs there. And then you're going to take all this stuff, water and lava. You're going to put a water here. It's going to break the rail. It doesn't matter. You're going to put a lava here, an obsidian here, and then 2 lava here. And then I like to take some netherrack, or like just whatever block is convenient, and just throw a bunch on top. And then I typically throw my frostwalker boots in the beehive chest, which is like right next to this. Unless you do in a desert village, in which case your beehive chest will be far away. Just you know, you just basically have to know where your frostwalker boots are, because you're gonna put them on when you go down here. Otherwise, you'll take damage from this magma. Or you could shift the entire time, but that's just not fun. All right. So, oh, wrong scene. This one. Okay. Alright, now that we're here, what you need to do after the guy cures, so you can do the underwater setup after or before the guy cures. So I think he just cured now. I'm going to do the underwater setup in the morning. You need to get all your villagers into Fletchers if they're not already. Like you can see there's a guy here that's, this is not glitched by switching his profession, but what you need to make sure is that all your villagers are Fletchers before you actually cure. So that's why you do that the previous day. Otherwise, or not Fletchers, just any profession. Otherwise, they won't actually, like, if they don't already have a profession, they won't go to minimum prices when you cure the guy. Okay, so now, once you have everything set up and you've slept, you need to grab all of the, like, a bunch of logs, a bunch of cobwebs, a bunch of gravel. You're going to craft sticks and string from the logs and cobwebs, and you're going to trade with a guy. This trade here gives you 10 times as much flint as gravel you put in, so you trade a stack of gravel and you'd get 10 stacks of flint, although you're only allowed to trade up to 12 gravel. But you'll get a couple stacks of flint, nearly 120 flint, and you're just going to spam trade the sticks, then the flint, and then the string. So sticks, string, and flint, not in that order, but sticks, flint, string. And for a couple of the guys, you're going to want to do this just to get yourself enough flint. You just do this over and over. One thing I always forget is you want to trade for some arrows if you don't have some from any percent. It can be really annoying not having arrows. You can backload sniper duel and archer if you didn't have arrows earlier, and you can use these arrows really easily just to get, like, this is the easiest way to get arrows. You also need them when you're underwater to get bullseye. So you just spam through all these trades, and then once you're done, you need to go underwater. So after your first trading cycle, you go underwater. You can see I clear out my inventory there. That's especially since I haven't set up underwater, and you just need to put a bunch of stuff in your inventory when you set up underwater. Here, this hole right here, that's that hole right there is my underwater setup hole. I just haven't actually set it up yet. So you can see I'm grabbing all the items. I already showed how to do this, but yeah, I set up all these items. Oh yeah, before you go underwater, make sure you get bees and chicken. So you need to find a chicken. I've already talked about that. Just you get one and you put it in a hole. So I'm getting seeds here. Once you get seeds, you get the chicken in a hole with a hopper. So they're kind of annoying, but you dig a hole, put a hopper in, and then you lure him in with the seeds. And then you feed the seed to him, otherwise he might despawn. And he's just going to lay an egg in the hopper a few times. You just need one. Here, I'm covering this up, and then I'm going to make sure I get some honey. Something you need to do before you go underwater is get honey. Hopefully they have their first honey cycle done. And you go underwater, and you're going to mine for like 10 minutes, just getting cobblestone. That's going to get you about a stack of cobblestone. Now, when you're mining, you're going to need to like click a bunch until it's going faster. I can't really describe it. You'll just have to like practice it. You click, like it's like fast breaking or click mining, except it's a little different. And eventually, you'll get like an infinite speed cobblestone generator, like this, where it's just they're instantly regenerating when you break them. You're gonna want to place your shulker boxes here. The third one's like behind me, and you're gonna want to probably, it doesn't really matter that much. So the thing is, you need to be under here for 20 minutes. That's the achievement. Yeah, the achievement is basically, let me switch to my desktop. Okay. Achievement is, yeah, sleep with the fishes, stay underwater for 20 minutes. So when you're under for 20 minutes, you have like 10 minutes that it takes to get all the cobblestone, because that's a chest full of cobblestone. You need to get a full chest of cobblestone. It's going directly into the hopper minecart, into the hopper, down into the chest. And then I think you have to like actually open the chest, and then it'll give you the achievement. It doesn't matter anyways. You're going to take cobblestone out of the chest to use for other achievements anyways. So the other 10 minutes, you're going to overlap as much as you can. That's the important. That's the cool part about underwater. That's why world records started getting so much faster. All of this stuff in 10 minutes. Or most of it, at least. So you have an extra lava bucket. You're going to use that to get super fuel. Here, let me actually... let me change the player so we don't have all this stuff done already. Okay. So, super fuel, to smelt, like, you're going to have furnaces set up around you. You're gonna need to smelt kelp for castaway and alternative fuel, so you can use your lava bucket for that. You're gonna need to smelt your debris for cover me in debris, and you're gonna need to smelt just like a bunch of random various stuff. Just use this as one of your fuels. Never, when you take a bucket out of the furnace, ever hold it in your hand. If you need to click on a shulker box while holding a bucket, it's gonna grab the water on your head, and that's gonna restart. You're gonna have to restart the 20-minute underwater timer. You want to be super careful with buckets while you're underwater. If they're empty, they will grab the water if you right click on them at all, even if you're opening a shulker box. So make sure you're holding something else, and I like to always immediately put them away after I use them, just because I don't want to accidentally risk using them for whatever reason. Renewable energy, you place a log in a furnace. You just take a log, you wait for it to smelt, and then when it's done smelting, you'll have like charcoal here. You'll have a charcoal like here, and you'll put it here, and you put a log there. And then once you take this charcoal out, it's just gonna melt into another charcoal. It'll give you renewable energy. Just do that at some point during the 10 minutes of overlap time. Smelt a fish, you don't need to eat it. Smelt a rabbit and a pork chop, you do need to eat those. You'll get those during exploration. Castaway, you smelt 10 kelp. You're going to use 9 of them to make a kelp block, and then you're going to eat the 10th one. If you had to relog at some point within the last hour, you will need to wait until it's been an hour in the world to eat the kelp. So save it in your shulker box if you have relogged. Otherwise, just eat it and you'll get castaway. Grab some iron during exploration if you don't have enough, or if you do have enough, you need to grab 1 iron ore and smelt it. That's what acquire hardware is. It's smelting 1 iron ore. Once you have your debris smelted, craft up your netherite. You have 16 scraps. Grab 16 gold, craft it into netherite ingots, and then use a smithing table, and you can get cover me in debris. Just all 4 pieces of diamond armor. Wear them all, take damage while you're wearing them. And that's really easy because you're going to be on a magma block. You'll be taking damage. That's how it registers the achievement. Same with Iron Man. Where's Iron Man? Right here. You need to actually take damage while wearing the full set of iron armor. So if you're wearing Frostwalker iron boots, you won't be taking damage. Save it for later. Unless you have extra iron, then just make another pair of iron boots. This is why you save iron from armor from end cities if you don't have it. The amount of iron you need to have before you start underwater, assuming you already have a cauldron and a smithing table, is 34. And then every iron armor piece, you just subtract that amount. Like if you had a chestplate, you would only need 26, because that's 8 less iron. If you don't have a cauldron and a smithing table, you need to add 9 for those. That's the total amount you need. You want to put a cauldron down here, and that'll... And you'll place the bucket. Do not click the bucket will be empty like this. Do never click this bucket. Put it in your inventory. Put it in a shulker box. Like, get rid of it out of your hotbar. You're gonna want to take a full set of leather armor. You're gonna want to take a random dye, any dye. Just make sure it's not one that you saved. Like, I typically take a white dye, just because it's easiest. Like, I have a bajillion bones. You just dye all these, super easy. You don't need to wear these. Throw them immediately, like, into here or something. I like to set up a chest here and another one below it. I break this netherrack block, and that allows me to just throw away junk. You'll get like 40 items, which is like 1.5 chests. Alright. So, let's switch back to here. That's tie-dye Iron Man. You're going to want to shoot a target block. Just place it like back here, and then shoot at it until you get bullseye. You're going to want to dye a shulker box, but name a shulker box. Wait until you're less than 5 minutes left with underwater. Otherwise, your shulker box might pop away from you. This underwater timer will tell you how much is left in underwater, by the way. Like, it needs to get to 20, so once you're past 15 minutes, you can do this. Mine the shulker box, name it on an anvil, and place it back down. If it pops away from you and you get unlucky, like item drop RNG, it won't despawn as long as you don't wait more than 5 minutes. Craft a dispenser. You can make a bow from the cobweb string that you have. You have logs, you have redstone, and you have cobblestone in the chest. Rainbow collection, just craft up all of your wools into dye. Sorry, all your flowers into dye, and then make wools one at a time. But don't craft them like super quickly. I'd wait like a couple seconds in between crafting wools. Otherwise, the achievement might not work. You just have to like make sure you go through all 16. The list is I like to do black, gray, light gray, white, then brown, and then red, orange, yellow, lime, green, cyan, light blue, blue, purple, and magenta and pink. In that order I like to do it, just because it's like a rainbow order color. Like, it's easiest to remember. Make sure I don't miss one. The easiest one I think to miss is light blue. Just make sure you get that. And then you need to get, let's see, pot. You just need to smelt your 3 clay and place the flower pot. You will smelt your cactus for rainbow collection. You'll use the cocoa bean and the 2 ink sacks. That's like why you got those things. They're just 4 dyes. That's why you got the red dye and the yellow dye, and save the lapis for the blue dye. That's why you got the bones, or there's actually multiple reasons you get bones, but you save some bones for that. Fruit on the loom. And you take one of your 2 e-gaps, and you're going to craft a banner pattern using the e-gap and the paper. And then you're going to make a banner. Use a dye in the banner banner pattern, and you're just going to use a loom, and you're gonna dye them, or you're gonna put the pattern on the banner. It's gonna get you the achievement, and make sure you actually place it down, otherwise you won't get the achievement. Just throw diamonds down at your feet if you never got diamonds at some point via like picking them up. If you loot them from chests, you won't get the diamonds achievement. You just throw it down on the ground when you're underwater, and you just pick it back up. That gives you the achievement. It looks like it's everything in here except for the lie, but then also disenchant. If you have a I like to disenchant my chest plate typically, or a random piece of iron armor I got from the end cities. You just place the grindstone down and do that. Sometimes you'll get it during this split, but I never do. I almost always do this during underwater, because I don't unenchant earlier on. And so the other thing is the lie. This is the cake achievement. You probably won't have an egg already. When you're done with your 20 minutes underwater, get out, go find the chicken, and then you can craft the cake once you find a cow and get 3 milk. So you can see here. Wait, okay, so I get out here. Yeah, so once you get out, you want to trade. You do another trading cycle, you craft all your emerald blocks, you're going to start building your beacon. If you have enough, finish the beacon off, good, you're done with that. I think in this run, because I got so much gold from bastions, yeah, I have so much gold, I end up only having to do 2 trading cycles. You typically have to do 2 or 3. If you have like 15 plus villagers, you'll probably do 2. If you have like 12 to 15, you'll probably have to do 3. So yeah, just build the beacon. Once it's done, yeah, you place it up here. You activate the beacon. That'll give you the beaconator, and then you can go here and you can click this. Otherwise, it probably will bug. This run, I believe it did. It's very rare that it doesn't bug. Right, so here, yeah, after you're done with beaconator, what you want to do is you take like some emeralds, go to the villager that you cured originally. You're going to want to place a cartography table, and he's going to become a cartographer. You might need to break some fletching tables. And then what you can do is just trade emeralds with him from the beacon. You can grab it if you don't have enough emeralds. Trade him from the... Oh, I didn't brew my poison potion here. Yeah, that was the main time loss in this run. I forgot Nether ore. So yeah, I get the maps. What you do? Okay, I want to show this. Okay, so you trade these until he levels up, and you want to get this. So you'll need a compass, but you also need these for map room. So you can see I'm going to buy this one here, and now I have an Ocean Explorer map, and I have 10 maps. You're going to use a compass. You'll craft 2 compasses while you're underwater. You'll also craft all your items for on a rail, which you can craft them underwater or later. It depends on if you have extra time while you're underwater. You're going to craft an empty locator map using the other compass. It's going to use one of these. You'll have 1 empty locator map, 8 empty maps, and your Ocean Explorer map. While I'm underwater, I like to craft item frames using the remaining 9 leather I had left over after I did tie-dye. And you have to place those 9 item frames down, and you're going to put the 9 maps in them. You have to make sure they're all filled out. So I clear out my hotbar, and I fly around with this one. This is the empty locator map in my offhand. Once I reach the top of the map, I wait a second or so, and then I do another map. This will do the map up here. And I do the map over here, 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 and here. If you're imagining like a 3x3 centered on this locator map. So I do the one above, and then I'm going to the top left here. I'm going to do this one, and you're going to see here I'm actually going to miss I missed like 3 pixels in the top left corner of that map. I missed a little bit there. And you'll see that the achievement actually won't work. I'll have to go back and do it again. I don't know why I was so confused about the directions in this run. But yeah, now I'm here on the left side of it. I do my 3rd map. Then I'm down here. I'm going to do my 4th map. Bottom left corner. Bottom, I'm going to do my 5th map. This one, depending on your GUI skill, it might be blocked. The little icon might be blocked by the hotbar. But I'm just going to like wait a little extra long. I get my 6th map done. Fly up here. Wait till I see my cursor. There it is. That's my 7th map. Then I go to the top right corner and I'll get my 8th map. That's all the maps. You fly back. And then you just place them all in the item frames and just make sure they're in the right orientation. They're all like in the right spot too. So yeah, you can see here. Now there's 3 pixels missing like up here in this top left corner. But otherwise it's perfectly good. I will go back and fix that later in the run. When you get out of underwater, you're going to want to get your honey. That gets you your honey block. you should have 4 honey hopefully by then, and that allows you to get sticky situation. You just jump up and down against a honey block. So here I remember that I forgot Nether wart, so I can just skip through the next 2 minutes of this. Yeah, so I had to fly all the way to a fortress. There was one really close to my portal that I only noticed later on. Yeah, I got back at the village after getting Nether wart. I did bullseye because it bugged during underwater. Unlucky. Or no, I think I just didn't have arrows. Yeah, you can see I have 48 arrows there. I think I just traded 3 times for arrows. Alright, so the end game is basically once you're like done with the villagers, you set up your beacon, you do map room, and then you're gonna do supersonic, on a rail, raid, and monument stuff. So here I'm gonna set up. So I already did map room. I'm gonna set up the tower for supersonic. Or it's like it's called I would call it tower. It's a bunch of achievements. Supersonic is the main one though, and it bugs a lot. So you have to tower all the way up. Here I'm sleeping because I don't want to deal with mobs. They're just annoying. You need to put a little like 1x1 ring, like this, or like a 3x3 ring with a 1x1 hole in the middle, and then there has to be a slime at the bottom. So when you fly in between that 1x1 ring, or that 1x1 hole, that's what gives you supersonic, although it will probably bug. And then you need to land on the slime block. That'll give you trampoline, where you need to you need to bounce up 30 blocks from a slime block. Alright, the other thing we need to do is we need to go to the top of the world and place the scaffolding. That's an achievement. So I'm going to skip through this because this is really boring to watch. Oh, also, you get a rotten flesh before you start towering up. Don't eat prior to towering up. You don't want saturation. Every time you jump, you're going to lose a little hunger. Once you're down to 0 hunger, you can eat a rotten flesh. That'll give you an achievement called Iron Belly. Keep towering all the way. And then when you're at the top, you can place a scaffolding. Here I don't know what I'm crafting. I'm crafting something. And then, yeah, when I get to the top, I place the scaffolding. That gives you an achievement. I fly all the way down, and then I go through the 1x1 holes. I bounce 30 blocks up off the slime block. This is when I realized map room was bugged. I realized the top left corner of this map is bugged. I go over here. I get the 3 pixels. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. And then I put it back, and I fly up here. So this is just off my tower, around like Y130 you want to go. You can go higher. Just don't go any lower, otherwise you might hit a mountain. Basically, you're going to go 500 blocks in one direction. You need to place... Yeah, I forgot slime block. You need the slime block from down below. Alright. I'm going to show this in a world. Probably easier. Okay. Cobblestone. Piston. Oh, I switched scenes. Piston, observers, minecart. Oh, I switched to the Minecraft scene. That's fine. Yeah, rail and slime blocks. I think is the last. Okay, so yeah, you need like a platform that's like 3x6 off your tower. So like, imagine this is your tower that you towered up. You place a piston. You place 2 slime blocks against it, and you place a cobblestone on top of the piston. Then you go right up here and you place 2 observers. They should be like looking up. You need to place 2 blocks here, and the sticky piston here, it's going to be facing back towards the slime block. Then, off of the observer side, not the piston side, you're going to want to place this L shape, like that. Put 2 powered rails on it, and get into place a minecart on the powered rails. And they don't have to be powered rails, it's just that's what you've probably crafted. And then place any block on top of the back observer, and that'll start the flying machine. Right, so you need to look at your coordinate when you start, like the coordinate that's moving. So this is my x coordinate. It's like 1240. You need to add or subtract 500 based on the direction you're going, and that'll determine where you need to get off. Yeah, just make sure you go like 505 blocks just to be safe. So here, I'm gonna build the whole setup. I started like negative 330. I'm gonna go to like negative 830-ish. Yeah, you don't need to watch this. It's just 500 blocks of on a rail. Okay, so I'm gonna get off here. I think I get off at 840 to be safe. Yep. 840. Here, I hadn't gotten repopulation at any point in this run, so I do get this here. Very luckily for me, it rains. Whenever it rains, you want to use your Riptide Trident. It makes you get around so much faster. Alright, I purposely oriented, and this is something you can do, purposely oriented my flying machine to point towards the outpost that I had already scouted out. You kind of need to know a general idea of where your nearest outpost is. I like to scout that out during exploration, or just like if there's one near the village, I'll hopefully just see it. Yeah, I go to the outpost. I don't know what was going on here, but there's like 50 dudes here. There's literally 5 captains on my screen right now. Yeah, here, let me full screen this. Yeah, you want to kill the captain. You can knock them off if you want. When the fall damage kills them, you'll still get bad omen. And don't worry about like actually knocking them off and like, oh no, I have to wait for a new one to spawn. Also, if for whatever reason they don't spawn, you might need to find a new outpost. They're really like weird with spawning if they're not there. You need to make sure this is like super important. Before you start your raid, you have to be on easy difficulty. After I cure the villager, or like convert the villager, like it'll be on hard difficulty when you're converting it. I like to switch back to easy or normal. If it's on normal, I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the run. If it's on easy, it's just kind of nice to not have to be on normal difficulty. But you need to switch before you do the raid back to normal. Before this boss bar pops up, you have to be on normal difficulty. That'll basically ensure that a 5-wave raid starts. And that means that you can get the 4th and 5th wave are important because you get 2 mobs from that you need. I like to build this little ring here that I can stand on during the raid when I'm building the tower. And I see the guys, I instantly I kill them. And then when they're dead, this guy's being annoying, he's on the roof. I fly back up here and I just wait for the next wave. As soon as and I'm also just like sorting my inventory a little bit here, just in between wave times. And then yeah, the guys are here, I kill them. Wave 1, 2, and 3, you just kill everyone, doesn't really matter. Once you get to wave 4, you need to poison the witches. You need to throw poison at them. I like to brew 2 potions just in case, to be safe. And that'll give you tasted your own medicine, which is where you poison a witch, because they give you, it's a word thing. Anyways, wave 5, you need to kill the evoker and get the totem. Super important. Alright, so here I'm waiting for wave 5. I like to have gapples left over for this part, and also the E-gap. You can eat your E-gap at some point in your run. So you get 2, use 1 for fruit on the loom. You need to eat the other one. It doesn't really matter when. I just like to eat it when it's most useful to me. So I think I ate it before wave 4. Yeah, because I have resistance, or absorption, whatever. That's absorption, but I don't see absorption hearts, but I have the effect. Go over here, you kill the evoker, and you just leave. You kill the evoker, you get the totem, and you're done. Like, you don't need to actually finish the wave. You need to get cheating death, and then you need to go to your monument, and you need to get shells if you don't have them, and craft your conduit. If you do already have your conduit and everything crafted, you just go to the monument. In this case, this finishes up super fast here. This is like the craziest endgame ever. But yeah, you fly to the monument, and you need to get Let It Go if you haven't gotten it already. Let It Go is a really annoying achievement. You have to be wearing Frostwalker. Typically, it works if you're directly above a monument. But I like to get it during exploration because sometimes it's super buggy, and sometimes Xbox is being super stupid and it takes like 20 minutes for achievements to pop up. And this one is like so, like you can't just like know for sure when you got the achievement. So you want to get it earlier on if possible. You want to have a crafting table, you want to have a furnace, you want to have buttons, TNT, and your conduit in your inventory before you get mining fatigue. So here I get the mining fatigue. I'm placing TNT and I'm going to cover it up. Okay, so I'll go back there. Place TNT, cover it up with blocks, and then place a button on the top. That'll ignite the TNT. That'll allow you to get in. Make sure you're doing it on like the edge of the monument. Like, you see how I do it over here as opposed to in the middle of the monument? That'll keep this prismarine intact for the conduit. Then you kill the guy. You gotta make sure you're holding the map in your offhand or your main hand at some point. That'll give you Treasure Hunter. So like the map that led you here, that you got from the cartographer. You smelt the sponge. you place a TNT and then place the conduit on top of it, because you have mining fatigue, you can insta-break the TNT still. And then you hold the map in your main hand. That'll give you treasure hunter. I swim down here just to make sure. And then you get the sponge out of the furnace, and that should be the run. Like in this case, that's the run. It's the end of the run. 2:11 or 2:51:13. That's all you need to do. Then what you need to do is make sure you show your achievements. So I'm going to scroll through my achievements here at some point. Run PowerShell if it's a top run. And then... Sorry, I had to sneeze. And show the seed, show the version, just important stuff for verification. That should be basically everything. Sorry if I missed like anything. Hopefully I got everything there. This is a long video. I didn't expect it to be this long. Unfortunately it is. And it is a little more scuffed than I was hoping it would be. It's just what it is. People wanted this AA guide, and I wanted to get one out here. So, thanks for watching. I will hopefully include everything I need in the description. Like the tracker and all that stuff. Good luck with your runs. Alright, thank you.